we are ready with all of the Terraform deployment, let's go back to our Visual Studio Code. And let's actually retrieve the first output that is called the AKS kubeconfig admin command, right? So there are two commands, one to log in with your users, and the other is actually log in with your admin credential. So in production, we recommend you to actually assign yourself to the group, and then in the AKS TF-vars, then you actually put in the group object ID, or you can actually create the Azure AD groups by following the TF-var that we have inside the IAM. So there is an IAM underscore AAD ignore. So in here, then you would actually have an instruction to create an AD group if you have that permission on your subscription, right? So we comment it out because on our subscription, we don't have that user access administrator role. Okay, so in this case, then to simplify things, then I'm gonna log in as an admin. So I'm gonna copy and paste my first output, paste it out, and then as you can see, then the kubeconfig is merged into my current kubeconfig. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a kubeget po-a. So in here, what you're gonna see is there is a kube system, there is a gatekeeper because I have my add-on enabled. There is a flux system. So the flux is actually was deployed also as part of Terraform. So Terraform, we bootstrap flux configurations that will help to deploy the part identity and the CSI secret store into our clusters, right? So all of the clusters that we're going to deploy with Terraform is going to have part identity and secret store deployed by default. For more information about the details of these cluster baseline settings, then you can actually go up into the repository, go back out one level. You'll see this cluster baseline settings, right? So there is part identity, there is secret store, there is configurations for your OMS agent, there is some network policies for the ingress, and there is the creation of some namespaces, right? So the namespaces, there is one particular namespace that we created for the next step, that is A0008. That's just a random namespace that we generate in order for you to not have a duplicating name, but of course you can change it to whatever that you would like. So you see there is a A0008. So the next step of the example, we're going to go into the AKS markdown, and then we're going to look and follow them step by step, right? So the first example is for you to actually CD into the standalone, which I'm already in. What you do is you will use the kubeconfig of the either the admin or the user. So I'm already there. So if you didn't copy and paste from the output, you can do this echo out here. It will practically do the same thing, right? So once you are logged in, then you make sure that the kubectl get part is actually working. So as you can see, I'm logged in. So what's the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna set up this traffic user assigned identity. So we're gonna export two of these managed identities that we created by Terraform. So one is created. Then what we'll do is we'll make sure that this namespace is created A0008, right? So it is indeed created. What else I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste this these configurations that let me define an Azure identity object or part identity that is actually pointing to the user assigned identity that I've just created using Terraform, right? So what I'll do is I'll copy and paste this. What this allows is for the traffic to be able to use this manage identity to access into keyboard, right? Okay. Oh yeah, so it looks like it has a tab. Let me open this in preview, and then copy and paste this, and then out. Okay, so these two objects has been created. What else I'm going to do is I'm gonna also define the key vault and then the tenant ID RBAC. Okay. The next step, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna define the secrets provider class from the secret store CSI. So what this does is it will access to key vault. Hold on. It will access. So this is a CSI driver that lets you reference a number of objects from Azure Key Vault and bind it into the pod. So here, as you can see, then I have created a secret provider class. So that will allow traffic to just reference these objects using a pod identity, right? Oops, reminds me to plug in. Okay. Okay, so the next step is for me to define also a load balancer internal subnet for traffic. So what this does is let me see. What this does is because I wanted a dedicated subnet for the load balancers, right? The ingress load balancers. So what I needed to do is to actually put a annotations inside traffic that tells that all of the load balancer IPs is going to reside in this subnet that I created with Terraform. So this essentially exactly what it does. So it's gonna modify that traffic.yaml, and if you go into workload here and then go to traffic, right? You can go down where it says changed. You can see there is a EPLI, which is a prefix that you saw before. This is actually randomly generated. And then these will be the internal subnet that all of the load balancer IP going to reside in, right? So now I have done this. What I do next is I'll go back to AKS document here, and I need to apply my baseline again, including the traffic YAML. Okay, that is done. And then what I'll do, okay, one more thing in the baseline is that the workload baseline is, let me locate it. Okay, the baseline contains the traffic and also contains a ASP.NET applications, right? So this ASP.NET applications is going to showcase to you a just a simple landing page of ASP.NET, but it will demonstrate that whether we got the whole infrastructure set up correctly, whether the domain is routed correctly, and whether the certificate is able to reference correctly for application gateway to access AKS properly. So the next step of the process is actually trying to get the pod here. So you see everything is correctly. Now I'll get the ingress. Actually, yeah. I'll get the ingress. You see, this is my default ingress. And what I'll do is I will actually get a HTTPS endpoint using this Terraform output command. So this is my public endpoint that is HTTPS. What I'll do is I'll open Edge. I'll paste it in. So this is currently using self-sign, so that's why Edge is giving me that I should I cannot visit it because of my security configurations. So let me actually go to Safari and then open it, show details, view certificate, visit this website, and then visit the website. Oof, okay. Okay, as you can see, then this is the .NET applications, and everything looks correct. And what you can also see is that there should be a certificate. Yeah, so this is where you see it. Show certificate. There is a self-signed certificate that is created by Application Gateway. So yeah, that's the whole process of deploying an AKS construction set. I hope you have a good time.